So, one day I was small, and when it came to music, people would listen to cassettes, CDs, MP3 players, all that. But then I don't know how, I wake up one morning, I get out of my cave, and everyone is using streaming services, not only for music, but also to watch shows and movies too. And I keep hearing these services are getting worse, but these people are just sticking around with them because I guess the collective unconscious just has forgotten how people used to listen to music and watch movies before. Okay, if you're watching this, you probably heard about this counterculture movement of going back to buying CDs and MP3 players and DVDs. But the problem with that is, these things are pricey. I keep watching these videos and I can understand when some comments are talking about how switching to buying CDs costs a lot more than streaming services and it's way too inconvenient. But something I never see talked about in these videos is just having an MP3 library. Just downloading music on your phone and computer. At first I thought I was one of those few people to do that because I don't have normal taste. I listen to stuff like TF2 fan songs, Silva Gunner rips, extreme SoundCloud, Megamix, and of course, video game soundtracks. Most of this stuff isn't gonna be on Spotify or on vinyl, so of course having an MP3 library makes sense for my relationship with music. But the more I think about it, the more I feel like the MP3 library option is the best in every way. By the way, I'm gonna focus on music for this video, but most of what I'll talk about applies to all kinds of streaming services on different levels. It just feels to me like music gains at least from being streamed. Okay, first point. One upside streaming used to have is that streaming off the internet means it's not taking any storage space. This was an important thing to consider because back in the early 2000s, your average MP3 player didn't offer much storage space unless you're willing to spend a couple $100s. My MP3 library is almost 10 gigs, so it wouldn't fit on most devices back then. But nowadays, everyone has an MP3 player. It's your phone. You're likely using it to watch this video right now. The cheapest smartphones nowadays come with at least 32 gigs of storage, which is plenty of space to store music. You can't even say that streaming apps have the advantages of being lightweight because it's not gonna be the case for long. Look at this. Apps like Spotify are already eating up your storage and is depending on your phone data plan on top of this. I guess it's not something you'd care about if you remember to clear your app cache and have an unlimited data plan, and you always have internet access no matter where you go. But most people can't even afford an unlimited data plan. And while we're talking about prices, the first thing I can't relate with videos about the importance of physical media is that while it looks cool to own music on a physical disc or vinyl or whatever, it's kinda inconvenient to use. The inconvenience of physical stuff has to be something you already enjoy. Meanwhile, the only inconvenience of having an MP3 library is that the library on my phone and my computer aren't automatically synced. But all I gotta do is plug my phone and drag and drop the files. It takes 3 minutes at most. But the second thing I can't relate to in these videos about physical media is that these things can be quite investments. I'm kinda poor and I also have special taste, so stuff like curvy super ultra deluxe original soundtrack goes for 50 euros minimum on eBay, so no thank you. Streaming music used to be the cheaper answer to all this because it used to cost little every month, but from the trends we're seeing, they're only gonna cost more and more every month. And for my case, they barely offer what I listen to. So yeah, I'm gonna stick to buying certain albums on Bandcamp and using YouTube MP3 websites for the rest. Okay, I've just mentioned YouTube MP3 stuff, so you can imagine that in my library of almost 2000 music files, a lot of them aren't super high quality, lots and lots of average quality MP3s. Thankfully, I'm not an audiophile, so I don't care. But if you're an audiophile and care about quality, well, you probably already stopped listening to music through streaming and switched to physical, because that's where you'll actually find high quality music. Also, guess what? You can still get high quality music files on the MP3 library. I got the Undertale soundtrack at the FLAC format and it's super high quality. I can't tell the difference, but if you care about quality, you can probably spend the money you use for the streaming subscription onto digital or physical albums in super high quality on Bandcamp. Though, if you're gonna be collecting high quality FLAC files, you're gonna have to invest in a big SD card. But at least you'll have all your files downloaded. Bandcamp could vanish tomorrow and all your downloads would remain safe and closed in your folders. If Spotify disappears tomorrow, then you'll be left with nothing. Which nicely transitions into Okay, this is the big one. It's something you've probably been hearing concerning movies and video games, because archiving movies takes a ton of space and video games are really hard to preserve. You can't just buy a Mario 64 cartridge, stick it in the USB port of your computer and voila, gaming. I hope emulation never becomes illegal as much as some company would want it to be the case, and also, please go check out Roscott's campaign StopPlayingGames.com. This is a bunch of interesting stuff and he'll be way better at explaining it than I am. Anyway, with music, it's so easy to preserve digitally because it's files that don't take gigabytes of space like a movie would. I even remember people were looking for a Homestuck fan album that became lost media called Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff the album. And guess what? I had downloaded the files in my library, so I was able to help recover the album. I really don't trust streaming services in general because they can take media away all they want because of licensing hell, whatever they feel like. And there's no way I'm gonna rely on something like YouTube to listen to music either. I'm too familiar with one or more videos in this playlist I've been hidden. Notification. So no thank you to that either. I don't want what I listen to be controlled by YouTube or Spotify or anything. Sometimes I see people in the comment sections be like, please add this to Spotify, and I can't help but sigh at that. Because again, do you want to be dependent on what streaming services want you to listen to, or have to do juggling between streaming and YouTube and MP3? Or do you want true freedom to get your own MP3 library so you can listen to literally anything you want forever? And also, guess what? Music on Bandcamp or disc or whatever that's not streaming actually supports the artist who makes the music you love. If they're only gonna get cents out of your Spotify premium subscription, then you might as well just pirate that work. So yeah, basically having your own music library owns, but it's not lost on me that it's easy for me because I've been building mine for over a decade. If you've been streaming music during that time, it's gonna be hard to start from scratch. In the end, we all have different needs and desires. I'm just throwing my personal experience out there to see if it's gonna inspire anyone to try. Hey, remember those anti-piracy PSA about how you wouldn't download a car? Well, first of all, remember it wrong. It's you wouldn't steal a car. And finding this out made me think a lot because could you imagine a world where we could download a car? Do you see how useful that would be for a civilization to make transport so accessible and low cost? It's a rhetorical question, of course. Car companies would ban the hell out of that. Okay, this example is an hyperbole, but this is how I feel about what's happening to art. Your favorite games, show, music, it's all being treated as dispensable products made by disposable artists when it all can be so easily accessible thanks to the internet. It sucks. This is why I find it such a shame that music streaming took over like that. Oh sure, piracy is really easy when everything is turned into easily shareable files, but I'll take that over a company deciding what product I can listen to and paying artists and dust protocols in return. Alright, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments. Maybe you'll also download your music. I wanna know because I don't know anyone who does. Anyway, thanks for all the Patreons for supporting whatever I do.